History is the movie I'm reviewing today, and this movie is executive produced by Uche Montana, and the producers are Uche Montana and Uchenna Bonabo. Director of this movie is Efosa Emmanuel. A quick recap of this movie is a gym instructor who fell in love with a politician. The politician was actually in love with the gym instructor as well. So was he going to give up his political career for the love of his life, or going to pursue the political career of his life? So yeah, this is the tussle this movie is about. What I like about this movie, let's start with the cast. The cast, I'll start with Uche Montana. Obviously she's the main character of this movie. It's her production, so she will bring her A game on. There were not much crying from her, but in terms of aggressiveness and anger, she actually kind of pulled through or came through with that, and yeah, she did very okay in her character. Then we move to Maurice. His character was very intense. I think maybe because he is a politician. I mean, politicians are kind of aggressive in their homes. In public, they pretend to be happy. I enjoyed him in this movie more. In recent time, in the past week, the movies that have come out with Maurice in it, this is the one that I actually enjoy him. So that should tell you that his performance here was an average good performance, and I think I love that very much. Next character that I love is Kofi Ajololo. If you guys are familiar with my channel, I don't play with Kofi Ajololo. He's a legend in Ghana. I don't play with him at all. If you watch this movie, he was the version of a wicked politician. If you don't do this, then you're not getting A. If you don't do B, you're not getting C. If you're not, you know what I mean. I just love the way his character came through very much in this movie. Like Kofi Ajololo, I can't go wrong. Character called Veronica. Yay! This girl, she was fire. She was actually my best character in this movie. She was very good. She was not playing with her character at all. I enjoyed every scene of her in this movie. I don't know if she's new. I don't think I've seen her face. Maybe I might, but I didn't take notice. She was very good. She was my best performance in this movie. I love her character so much. Hopefully I get to see her more often. She was one of my best. Another thing I love about this movie is they put a little effort in the casting. Here they were talking about elections, politicians and stuff like that, so they needed more cast or more characters, and Uchenna, or should I say Uche Montana, they did well scouting for people for this movie, and that was really surprising because YouTube producers really don't take consideration some of these little things at all. So when I saw a lot of people campaigning, a lot of cast siren, I'm like, okay, that was good. That's a good one there. I mean, the crowd was not much, but per YouTube standard, a lot of producers would have skipped the campaigning ground and stuff like that. So when I saw people campaigning, I'm like, okay, that was good. So yeah, seeing a lot of cast in this movie or on this production set, I was a little impressed. Then we talk about the location for this movie. That was another impressive segment that I really love. There was conference, there were politicians having conversation. Then we have the gym, which of course as a gym instructor, they had a lot of scenes at the gym as well. These houses are not familiar, like they are not overused. That was really impressive. Like the locations, a little effort were thought through for using these locations for this movie. So I was really impressed. And the outside shots, the campaign ground, I was impressed. Costume for this movie, I was impressed by the costume in terms of the characters that were acting politicians. We all know how politicians look good with their agbada, and their kaftan, they look splendid, and they present themselves as very expensive but very subtle way. And that was how Maurice was presented, and I was okay with how that was put together, and how Kofi Adjorolo was presented, like as a very high authority politics. I don't know if he's an ex-governor or whatnot. He looks really rich. His costume was nail. He looks really good. Costume wise, for characters who were acting politicians, were on point. Lastly but not the least thing that I love about this movie is the time. First production from Uche Montana, that the movie is not more than 2 hours, and I was like, look, you don't have time. You have to have a good movie to make sure that your viewers are watching from start to end. I really appreciate Uche Montana for keeping it under 2 hours. Pretty much what I love about this movie. What I don't like about this movie, I'll start with the cinematography of this movie. Obviously, if you are a fan of Uche Bonabo's movies, you know that this is the color grading or cinematography, picture quality that he uses for most of his movies, and some of the storyline deserves this kind of cinematography. Some, they do not. This movie doesn't deserve this kind of cinematography. So for me, I wasn't a fan of this cinematography. Uchenna Bunabo's favorite cinematography is this. So I don't know. I was not a fan of the cinematography. Another thing that I don't like is the size. It was very tiny. There were spaces, black here, and I'm like, why was that the case? So that was one thing I didn't like as well. Another thing I didn't like about this was also the campaign ground. Like I said, they kind of use people, but it was really scanty. So I was thinking if the campaign could have just been at just a small location where those people who were still on the set would have made it a little bit crowded, make it more fun, make it more lively. But yeah, it was really scanty, and I hate the way it ended. We didn't see them vote. All we saw was result, and they made us believe that Maurice won. I'm like, nah. So the ending was not it, and I was asking myself, what happens to Veronica and her family? They kind of like, okay, well, you guys are not important anymore in the movie. Like, they deserted them immediately, and the story had prospect. The ending was just bad. It was predictable, basically. I hate movies that are just predictable. There was no twist to it at all. We definitely knew that Maurice was going to choose Uche Montana at the end of the day, and it doesn't work like that in real life. Like, politicians don't do like that, So I was expecting a twist, but anywho, it is what it is. It's Nollywood, so that those are the things I did not like. But that's notwithstanding, I'm rating this movie a 5/10. I'm looking forward to a better movie from Uche Montana, and so far this is an improvement. This was one of her best productions so far. I mean, as you go along, you produce better movies, so kudos to her. She's doing super well, and thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all in my next movie review.